Mick LaSalle thinks the Suicide Squad is the kind of torture that could be used as revenge. Not like really painful revenge, just like a little bit. Here's Mick's review of Suicide Squad. If you know someone you really can't stand, not someone you dislike, not someone who rubs you the wrong way, but someone you really loathe and detest, send that person a ticket for Suicide Squad. Do you really hate someone? Buy them a gift. Oh, I hate you! And I got you this. It's full of hate. It's the kind of torment you can wish on your worst enemy without feeling too guilty. Not something to inflict permanent damage, just 2 hours of soul-sickening confusion and sensory torment. Man, don't rub this guy the wrong way at all. I'm gonna get you. You won't know when it's coming. It won't be that bad, but it will suck your soul for 2 hours. To even talk about Suicide Squad is misleading because it requires imposing a coherence on the material that isn't really there. No, it's not. Just because you talk about something doesn't imply or impose that it's coherent now. Like if I were to talk about your feelings, which clearly don't make any sense, it doesn't mean they all of a sudden make sense. And hopefully everything I say is gonna make you mad enough to buy me movie tickets, because that seems to be your revenge for everything. The last half hour is a video game. Awesome. On the way to doing battle against some evil queen. The experience of Suicide Squad is like watching other people play video games, which people love to do. And that's literally why the internet exists. The entire internet is 85% porn, 13% people playing video games, and 2% people playing pornography video games. Oh, and cats. Forgot about cats. Cat porn. Except they're not really playing them, and there's not much suspense about who will win, and you can't escape, and the music is— you could escape, just leave! I know that you think buying someone a ticket is your way of torturing them and ruining their life. They don't have to use the ticket. In fact, at the beginning of the movie, they're like, exit signs are located at the front and rear of the— they tell you how to leave! Go home and watch some cat porn. And the music is terrible, and you barely know what's going on, and you're stuck there for 2 hours. You're not stuck. Leave. And then it's a little depressing too, because Suicide Squad wasn't worth making and it wasn't worth releasing. And it has the word suicide in it. So you went to a movie with the word suicide in it and you got a little depressed. Really not that weird. Sean Burns thinks that the Killing Joke is shocking and appalling and needs to be lightened up, you know, like a sitcom. So let's take a look at what Sean Burns had to say in his review. A miserably dated exercise in shock value for its own sake. When it was over, I wanted nothing more than to take a shower. Why? I needed a shower after this movie. It was incredibly dirty. The Joker attempts to demonstrate that only one bad day stands between good men and madness. As you might imagine, this all seemed very heady when I was 13 years old, dressed in black all the time, and hated my parents for getting divorced. Were you Batman? You know, after this comment, instead of hating the movie, I feel like you should be thanking it for working you through some of the emotional, psychological stress you've had to deal with in your childhood. And why are you talking about this in your review? It's one of the most cluelessly misogynistic portrayals I have ever seen, presenting Batgirl as a bumbling flake with a massive crush on her emotionally aloof crime-fighting mentor. She even gets a crassly stereotypical gay best friend to confide in because I guess this is a 90s sitcom. That would be awesome, actually. You fight crime and I'm an evil monster, but you look just like me. She and Master Wayne wind up boning on a rooftop beneath a hilariously spoilers! That's a pretty big spoiler, I think. Batman, Batgirl, bone. Bad. Leaving aside out the bizarre notion that a monastic, self-flagellating hero like Batman would bang his best friend's daughter and then ghost the poor kid. This production is hypersexualized in an incredibly creepy way. Ghosting. Yeah, I'll call you. You have my email. Whatever. I gotta be perfectly honest, you're making this movie sound way more interesting than it was. You should write a 90s sitcom. Earlier this month, several colleagues of mine were viciously harassed online for days on end after giving negative reviews to the abysmal DC Comics adaptation Suicide Squad. It's an objectively terrible movie, incoherent in ways I never imagined possible. It's also not the movie you're reviewing. Characters are introduced or not introduced, then introduced again with so many major plot points. You stopped reviewing the movie. Warner Brothers could have actually watched Suicide Squad from start to finish and deemed it in— What movie are you reviewing? The biggest laugh in Suicide Squad comes when to stop reviewing Suicide Squad. It's like being a fry cook in a restaurant and being like, you know what? I'm gonna go work at H&R Block. All right, this whole review goes weird. If you want to read the whole thing, just look in the description. Do you have the strength to say no to the Lego movie and its commercialization, even though you were walking into it expecting that and it's probably what you wanted in the first place? Well, movie critic Ed Whitfield hopes you do. The Lego Batman movie just might be the one to show us the limits of corporate synergy and superhero movies. It feels like a resounding full stop. Here we go. It's hard to imagine there will ever be a more cynical film made by a studio with a licensing deal. Proof that you have no imagination. A movie designed to sell a toy product while simultaneously trying to make brand ambassadors of the parents and kids in attendance. A movie based on a toy and a character that sells toys. It's pretty expected that they're gonna try and sell toys. And if parents and kids walk out going, yay Lego, yay Batman, then you know what? Yay Lego, yay Batman. Who cares? Now, if the movie was called Lego Heroin, maybe then we'd have a problem. The breeders are reminded of old Warner's properties like Gremlins, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. But unfortunately, the LGBTQ community wasn't reminded of Gremlins, Harry Potter, or the Lord of the Rings. And that's where the problem starts. The ads that precede it tell the tadpoles that the Lego story packs are already available. Again, it's a toy movie. Even Battleship was like, man, I hope we sell more Battleship games. You sunk my industry. If you're the incubator or ejaculator brave enough to tell their cherubs that they won't be recreating the film at home because you object to the strong-arming and conspicuous manipulation of families in a film ostensibly about the importance of family and not standing alone, then you have my respect. First of all, a double amputee can count on one hand how many people actually want your respect. Especially after calling them incubators and ejaculators. Second of all, if any parent is not willing to buy their children toys because they felt the movie they just saw with their children was trying to sell them toys, why the hell did they go see the movie? They pretty much threw their morals and beliefs out the window the second they bought the frickin' ticket. And don't bother telling Myrtle or Hans that you were particularly aggrieved at brand values being integrated into the narrative, like the importance of building and assembly, both metaphorically and literally, because they won't know what you're talking about. For two reasons. One is because that's utter nonsense. And the other is because unless you're living in Germany or Sweden, no one's called their children Hans or Myrtle in about a century. If they knew they were being programmed, a whole business model would collapse. I'm just picturing a movie theater full of children just coming to this realization. They're trying to sell us toys. They're trying to sell us toys. I refuse to finish this movie. Are you going to be the one to kill the movies? Are you ready to bear that burden? I hope you've got some great books on the shelf. Oh, we have great books on the shelf. We have Chaos in Gotham City, Team Batman, and Batman's Guide to Being Cool. On one hand, to appeal to savvy adults thought to be conscious of film conventions and corporate reality, the movie pokes fun at superhero film tropes. Look, it says, I'm self-aware. I'm setting myself up as the latest in a seemingly never-ending attempt at making new money from old rope. Yeah, self-referential comedy never works. It flatters the audience with one hand, gross, while imposing on them all the mawkish guff that's bedeviled Hollywood product for years. Messages so safe and so familiar that they've become thought-terminating cliches. Friends are what matter. Family is everything. The family that stays together plays together. No room for smug postmodernism there. I took my kids to this kids movie, and it was like, friends and family are important. And I'm like, that's bullshit. When a film makes genre conventions naked in this way, it's inviting young fans to see the inherent silliness in such movies. Oh, you finally get it. Still haven't reviewed the movie though. And that arguably is a tacit acknowledgement that we've reached peak superhero. Once you reach saturation point, every story's been told, every complication tried. All that's left then is to spoof and acknowledge it's all about ancillary tie-ins, at which point it's surely over. Fear the Lego Star Wars movie. Yeah, stories about heroes defeating villains is just over. That's why I only read the Bible. Oh crap. That's why I only read Greek myths. Oh crap. That's why I only read 99% of the stories that have been written since the beginning of time. Oh crap. You might like Batman v Superman, but here's a bunch of people who hated it. Most fail of this year. There isn't even commas to help me understand what you mean. It'd be really funny if like your significant other did something you didn't like they made out with someone in a bar when they were drunk or something, and you're like, most fail of this year, I'm going home.
At first I thought it was good, but then I took off my DC glasses and I realized that a pile of poo-poo it was. DC glasses that make you not see poop. What happens if you use DC glasses and watch a Marvel movie?
Don't wear those glasses in a dog park. Don't need to see garbage to smell it, because I don't see with my nose.
Please do not watch. It is painful. Not even worth the review that you did. Right here, in my hand. The review that isn't worth doing that you did. Right here. The
Justice League trailer was better than this 3-hour shit fest. Well, I wore my DC glasses, so it was just fest. It sounds like a stoner's idea for a concert.
Quite possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. It's a total bombshell of randomness and action. Zero plot and zero character development. There could have been 3 movies made from this one. I couldn't name all the different heroes into that movie, and even if I could, I would remember parts of this movie I want to forget. Let's ignore that last half of the comment. Let's talk about how you think there's no plot, but yet you could have 3 movies.
Slow, 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 and so serious, and estupido, some parts no comprende, and so long. Oh, you're saying the movie's long. I thought you were just saying goodbye. So long.
Wonder Woman's brief inclusion is the only redeeming quality about the film, which essentially is a long-winded measuring contest between 2 of Earth's greatest heroes. That's a Funny or Die skit waiting to happen.
Boring, uninspiring story. Cavill made a better Clark Kent than I expected, but his Superman was just droll. Affleck was okay as Batman, but you could have stuck a monkey in that suit. That's a movie I'd see. We need Batman, and then like just like turn and Batman is there, but he's like going through he's going through someone's hair, finding bugs and eating them.
A even more retarded version of Man of Steel. That hurt my face to say. Not about the movie, but about how you wrote things.
So bad, dumb, boring, action-less, get it out of my brain. Well, stop writing about it. You keep writing about it, it's gonna stay in your brain. You did this to yourself. We're gonna watch it again, write another review.
What a bad movie. The Martha Skeen was so dumb. Who calls their mom by the first name? Stupid. Even though that's a good point, that ruined the movie for you?
Are you kidding with this piece of garbage? I don't know where to begin to criticize this awful, awful movie. It's so terrible that it really gave me a headache. First off, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor? Come on. He's as convincing of a villain as Mickey Mouse. Then Ben Affleck as Batman? Enough said there. There are so many loose ends and different plot lines that it was hard to watch. And finally, I'm a ride or die Superman fan, and he gets killed in the end? I want the last 2 hours of my life back. This will go down as the worst Marvel movie ever made, period. 2 things. This is DC, and Superman died in the comics. So much for your ride or die status.
If I could give this movie a negative rating, I sure as hell would. I still have flashbacks of this crappy movie. It's one of those movies where a lot was don't, but not a lot happened. I hated this movie, and I mean this from the pit of my very existence. I'm even more mad that I paid money for this terrible movie. I was happy to see that I wasn't the only person walking out of the theater with a pissed off reaction. Please don't ever watch this movie. This movie, as well as any and all copies of it, need to be destroyed immediately. Are you sure you didn't like accidentally write a review and not a letter to your girlfriend that you're ending it with? What the hell happened here? You need a hug.
Batman looked like Peter Griffin. A fat Batman is not what I wanted to see, and the whole movie was like the director went to sleep during the dumb movie, had a stupid dream, woke up and decided to add that stupid dream into the movie roll credits. Yeah, it's like those slam poetry, that's what that was. Superman, Henry Cavill. Batman, Peter Griffin. Wonder Woman, some random chick.
Really? Hollywood had to use God's name in all their movies. That offends me. Stop using God or Jesus in your curse words. Obviously you don't believe, so stop mentioning the name. Jesus, who doesn't believe in Superman?
Just terrible. Bleak moment after moment, with poor plot and character development. This movie feels like the goth kids from South Park had creative control. Everything is just darkness. Even Superman's darkness. The lightest of all the characters is dark.
I wept tears of blood. Depending on your rating, that could mean drastically different things.
Worst movie I have ever seen. I'd rather take a sword and chop my own dick off than watch this movie again. I think given the option, you would probably choose the movie, but either way, stay away from this movie. This is why we have to destroy any and all copies of it. Because people are gonna start chopping their dicks off. This movie's dangerous.
Terrible, terrible movie. I'm not gonna go into detail with plot holes, terrible portrayals of characters, and overall attempting at smashing together random stories like a 5-year-old does with his wrestler toys.
Punisher v. Snyderman. Yawn of Boredom is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's on the same level as Fantastic Four, 50 Shades of Grey, and Twilight. You don't understand levels.
Dumbing down society theory. This movie is a good example. Reduce the intellectual content of writing and make us more stupid. Man, people just don't have imaginations anymore. It's just like saying that a movie is good enough to influence anyone, and I think most people know that this isn't real, except for maybe you. You seem convinced.
Damn! I guess comic books are supposed to be stupid. This was a movie. You know this was a movie, right?
The best superhero movie I've seen. Half a star. I don't think you like superhero movies. You hungry? Let's go to my favorite Chinese restaurant. By the way, I hate Chinese food.
Okay, firstly, I owe Ben Affleck an apology. Because he'll care. He was the best thing in the film. Jesse Eisenberg was fucking awful. I mean, spontaneous diarrhea and vomiting with pus awful. God. You use so many words that aren't actually descriptive words. As descriptive words, that's incredible, first of all. Well played. Second of all, I mean, this is a guy who just did his best at a role. You just ripped him apart like a butthole after whatever you just described.
A film so terrible, I wouldn't hesitate to put it below the Twilight films. Gross.
So you guys tell us in the comments what movie we should do next. Till we see you next time, geek out and game on.